as I heard the engine kick up and the electronics in the vehicle roar to life. I'm not gonna lie, my heart skipped a beat. Suddenly, the shield systems cranked up, and I could feel the field of energy being emitted by the armor panels on the exterior of the Angel of Death. Luckily for me, the shield only effectively repels attacks, so someone just standing on top of them doesn't actually do anything. But the blade that I had dug into the center segment of the hood of the car felt like the shields were trying to force it out, pushing back against me. The blade starting to unwedge as the Angel of Death swerved back and forth wildly, trying to shake me off. It was hard to hold on. The only thing that even made it possible was the fact that I had my blade wedged in it. Otherwise, he just would have flung me off. But I could tell at this point, I was starting to get under his skin, in more than one way. Come on, I thought. You know you want to get rid of me. Come on, use it. I thought to myself, gripping hold of the blade for all I was worth as the angel swerved back and forth, wildly, slamming into the Jeep beside it, and the other car nearby. With the shield now fully functioning and on, the impact from the Angel of Death slamming into them was amplified massively. Every time he hit, even the large-scale Jeep shuddered wildly, once or twice even picking up off two of its wheels a little bit, having to swerve to keep straight. Oh yeah, he's angry, but apparently not angry enough. Come on, use your cannon. It's the only weapon you have that can shoot me. Use it. I thought to myself furiously. I can't keep hanging on like this forever. If he doesn't use that freaking cannon soon, I'm a goner. Come on, I thought. He has to use it. And finally, my wish came true. From the top of the car, the double-barrel plasma cannon popped out. For a moment I thought that it would aim at me first, but no. It swerved off to the side, turning its mechanical head in the direction of the Jeep, which I had negotiated a favor from. There was a high-pitched noise as the cannon charged up, and then a bolt of green energy flew out of it, right into the Jeep driving beside us. It scorched a hole right through the passenger side, into the vehicle, and the entire thing went up like a Roman candle, exploding, flying off the ground, probably a dozen or so feet. I kept low, gripping tight to the sword, trying not to get hit by shrapnel, as bits of steel and debris flew by, bouncing off of the barrier produced by the Angel of Death's armor. In the very instant that I could, I jolted forward, still gripping tight to the blade to not fall off. I had to take advantage of this moment. It was now or never. If that cannon sunk back in, there was no telling how long it'd take to come back out, and the blade just kept losing its grip, so to speak, becoming less and less wedged every time he swerved around. I wasn't gonna get another opportunity like this. I dropped to my ass, kicking my leg up, right into the barrels of that plasma cannon, pressing it up as my other hand reached into the pouch. There was a specific pocket, the one that I kept Danny's specialty, his one-of-a-kind, one-use-only weapon for this very instant. Without a moment's hesitation, I wedged it in between the risen cannon and the port that it came out of. And then, with everything I had, I pulled myself back to the blade wedged inside of the top of the vehicle, lifted myself up, the wind and dirt whipping past rapidly, and with everything I had, pulled at the blade and tried to jump at the same time. The blade lifted free and I jumped free of the Angel of Death, flying back towards Titan. She had to adjust and slow down, barely managing to catch me as I landed belly first across the driver's seat of Titan. The weapon went off. It was nowhere near as loud as the explosion that was usually supposed to happen with those, but it wasn't meant to be. There was a pop, like a firecracker going off, and suddenly a thick sludge, like foam, spread out under the cannon, and just as quickly as it spread out, it began to harden, solidifying. The cannon was trying to move, trying to shift back, lock itself back away, but it was too late. At this point, it was stuck, still pointing to the left, towards where the Jeep was before it blasted it away. And just like that, that pinhole, that tiny little gap in the Angel of Death's defenses, opened wide for me. No more shields. The main plasma cannon is off. If there was ever gonna be a chance, this is it, I thought as I readjusted myself on Titan. With the speed that we were moving, it wasn't an easy task to do safely, sliding my blade back into Titan's frame. "Jax, are you okay? That was very reckless of you," Titan announced. "You could have been seriously injured." "Yeah, I know, Titan, but sometimes risk is part of victory. If you're unwilling to take risks, you'll never win, especially when all the odds are against you. Sometimes it just has to be done, risky or no." It was at that point that the Angel of Death swerved towards us. At this point, I think he's figured out that the cannon isn't moving, and he's very upset about it, heading in to try to ram us. I pulled away on Titan as fast as I could, ended up having to hit the brakes, slow down, before getting crushed in between the Angel of Death and another car. After being hit, the car went sailing, flipping wheel over wheel, smashing over itself, crumbling into a heap of steel as it faded into the distance, and we kept going. Now I was behind the Angel of Death, and suddenly, its rear weapon sprung to life. A pulse laser lifted itself up slightly, angling in our direction before firing off. Once again, we had to swerve, darting out of the way as the beam shot by. One after another, it just kept shooting, streaking an assault laser across. I really hated that this thing used energy weapons. My shield just wasn't effective enough against them. It was either evasion or nothing. But I can't keep evading. Not forever. It'll catch up, I said, having to fire off the jets, lifting off the ground for a moment in order to evade a beam headed for front tires. As Titan impacted the ground again, I throttled the engine as hard as I could, trying to speed up, get past the rear weapons. Once again, I pulled to the right. I still wanted to make sure that I was on the opposite side of that cannon. I finally pulled past the firing range of the rear-mounted laser, and the Angel of Death started heading in my direction, swerving over to try to ram me. Perfect. At that instant, Titan spread her wings. Those oversized chainsaw blades spread out like wings to the side, like we were a metallic angel flying down the road. The blades spun to life, and as the Angel of Death closed in for the strike, the blades cut right into it. The side panel doors started to tear away, massive amounts of steel being sawed through. Red sparks flew everywhere. It was almost blinding. Worked perfectly. The shields are down. For a moment, the angel tried to pull back away, but I didn't let it, turning into it, throttling the engine harder, starting to pick up speed and move down the side of its body, tearing through it as I went, finally pulling away as I saw we were approaching the tires. So with one quick, swing in the opposite direction, pulling away rapidly. The end of Titan's wings slashed the tire for the Angel of Death. And as we began to pull away, the Angel swerved wildly, whipping back and forth, unable to control its movement. Moving that fast with only 3 tires is a dangerous thing. And just like that, the Angel flipped over, rolling over multiple times as it came crashing to a halt. Even though we were in the midst of the group, I slowed down, pulling around. I wanted to make sure it was down for the count. As the other cars flew by, and I pulled to a stop beside the Angel of Death, I could see its engine still running. The exterior of the car was, well, beat to hell. Dented and warped and broken everywhere. As strong as it was, it couldn't withstand a 100-mile-an-hour crash. One of the wheels was completely shot. I had managed to tear right through one of the shafts holding it in place, and it separated altogether. I saw the back tires of the Angel of Death trying to spin, force the car forward, but it wasn't moving. With only 3 tires, all it did was wind around in a circle. It was stuck. There was no way that it could finish the race like that. I beat it. I beat the Angel, I thought, smiling under my helmet. Well, that's gonna be a story to tell one day, I said as I revved Titan's engine, taking back off. I had lost a lot of ground having to deal with the Angel. Now, it was time to catch back up. I still had a race to win, and I planned on doing it.